Hello and welcome to Taki Space Program with me, Taki117. So, we have these contracts to fly by the moon and to test some parts. Now, as you can see, I already have my moon flyby rocket sitting on the pad, and I've already set up everything that I need to go to the moon. So, let's go ahead and fly this rocket. So, what I've done is I've built the rocket, I've set it on the pad, and I've actually set the moon as my target. The reason for that is so that at launch, I can launch into the plane of the moon to make rendezvous a lot easier. So this is actually going to be a night launch, but as you'll see, I've added some light so you can actually see the rocket. There it is. Beautiful night launch. So I'm going to make sure that all of my fuels are balanced. The main reason I'm doing this is because I have two strap-on liquid boosters on the side that will feed into my main, my core stack, to keep it fully fueled throughout the initial launch procedures. Now, I'm going to head to map view, and here is my rocket right here at Cape Canaveral, and there is the moon. So I'm going to go ahead and set that as my target, and as we can see, I'm already fairly close to in the plane. So I'm actually almost at the descending node, or I'm almost at a node for launching into the plane of the moon. As you can see down here in my orbit info, I have my relative inclination, which is what I'm really going to be worried about. So, let's go ahead and launch this rocket in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I forgot to test my parts. So there goes one part. There goes the other part. Ignition and liftoff. Beautiful plume there, and Houston, we have cleared the tower. Not what I want to do. I want to roll. Now, my main reason for rolling is so that when I jettison these boosters, they will jettison off to the side rather than into my rocket. As we can see, my relative inclination is already dropping. I'm going to go this way. Now this is going to be a little bit harder of a launch because I'm not launching exactly to 90 degrees. I'm actually launching closer to about 135. So what that means is it's going to be a lot harder for me to judge my angle for my gravity turn. Fortunately, the 45-degree line goes all the way around, so that I can at least meet that milestone at about 10 kilometers. So my solid boosters are about to burn out here. Or rather, my liquid boosters are not solid rockets. And there they go. And there they go. Now, they've been torn apart by aerodynamic forces. That is perfectly fine. I did not plan on reusing them at all. If I had planned on reusing them, I probably would put parachutes on them. So as we can see, my relative inclination has... Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh crap. So my rocket is broken up. I'm going to see if I can save this, save my payload again, because I don't have a parachute on here. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This definitely puts a kink in things. Fortunately, I do have quite a ways to fall. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up my surface information that has my suicide burn countdown timer on it. Close my orbit information because I don't need that anymore. My surface dust to weight ratio is almost 2, but it is dropping rapidly. So I don't know if I can actually land this thing. The only way to really slow myself down is with these antennas, but if I activate them, I'm not going to have the electric charge to successfully land, and I might not have the electric charge to land anyway. So 14 seconds to suicide burn. Now, you've noticed I've selected the retrograde marker, and this will keep my craft pointed retrograde so that I don't have to worry about flying it manually. All I need to worry about is engine thrust. So here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh crap. Okay, I am producing thrust. It's a very small amount of thrust. There's the engine there. So this is good. I have plenty of delta V. Now, the ultimate goal is to hit the ground at less than 5 meters a second. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Hopefully I can. I have 14 seconds to impact. This is good. But I'm not sure my engine is actually doing anything. I mean, I am slowing down, but I'm not sure if that's from my engine or if that's just from air resistance. So here we go. Now we're at about 35 meters a second. I'm going to go ahead and cut my engine. Ooh, that was a mistake. Alright. I'm going to activate both of my dishes to try and slow myself down. Basically what that's doing is that's increasing my effective surface area. And I don't believe I'm going to be able to slow down fast enough because my thrust to weight ratio, yes, my thrust to weight ratio is dropping below 1 and I am losing delta V and I'm fuel. But my probe core survived magically somehow. So this is good. I am able to recover at least one part of my rocket to be reused. Close. So this is good. So now I kind of have to wait for it. Unfortunately, that is the only part of my rocket that has survived. And very strange things are happening. I'm somehow going up. And I don't have any electric charge, so I have no control. That is weird. So this mission is lost. I'm going to rebuild my rocket and try again. Basically what went wrong there was I got too far off of prograde trying to correct my angle to the moon, which was probably a mistake, and caused my rocket to break up and then subsequently be destroyed. So we're going to try that again. Here you can see the rocket a little bit better in the vehicle assembly building. It's my standard communication satellite that I put into orbit previously, on top of a booster that is going to give the final push to the moon, and then you have the core stage and the 2 liquid fueled boosters. So I'm going to go ahead and build another one. Fortunately, it is only 31,000, almost 32,000 funds, so I have plenty of funds to cover it. It's just a little disheartening that my rocket broke up during ascent. It really is never good to lose a rocket, simply because you feel like you're wasting your time. And while, you know, there's not a whole lot you can do about it, it's disheartening. You know, you spend all this time building this rocket and it breaks apart, and you're like, well, what do I do now? So we're going to just try again, because that's what rocket scientists do. They try and they perform simulations and they try again. So here we go, our rocket is built. I have enough science now to research another node, I believe. So I believe I'm going to do advanced construction looks good. This will give me more things, but I don't really need that. I don't really need flight control either. Flight control would be nice because I have different things. I'm going to do landing, because landing is going to give me a very nice Kerbal pod along with some launch escape systems, some different engines. So I'm going to research some landing. And while that's going, my rocket should be... Yep, that's going to roll out to the pad. And hopefully our angles aren't too far off again. Because I think what happened was I was trying to correct for an angle while traveling too fast, which caused my rocket to break up. So hopefully my angles aren't too terribly far off initially, and if they are, I'll just go to orbit and I will correct in orbit with a plane change maneuver. So I no longer need to test these parts, so I'm just going to move them to the top of the staging because I don't need them. I'm going to bring up my orbit info. Once again, going to set the moon as my target. See, and we're much closer now. We're at 39 degrees instead of the almost 45 that we were earlier. Set up my fuel flow. Again, going out of my boosters into my center stack to keep it fueled, so that overall I have more delta V in my rocket. Even though MechJeb over here is not calculating it correctly, there will be more total delta V. I'm going to warp a little bit just to see how low I can get my relative inclination. 33, 32. Ooh, this is looking good. So it's gonna sit on the pad for a little bit. As you can see, my landing research has completed successfully. 26, 25, 24, 23. This is looking very good, actually. So the reason I'm doing this is so that I can launch directly into the plane of the moon. You know, I don't have to worry about trying to adjust my flight path to accommodate this strange. Oh, this is beautiful. So I'm off by about 3 degrees. Oh well. Let's go ahead and turn our lights on, because this is going to be an evening launch, which is fine. There we go, lights are on. Launching in 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff. Houston, we have cleared the tower. So, the reason the public relations officer for NASA launches says, Houston, we have cleared the tower, is because the Kennedy Space Center is only responsible for the construction and initial launch of the rocket. Once the rocket clears the tower, it is then transferred to the Johnson Space Center in Houston, and so to acknowledge that handover, the call is given, Houston, we have cleared the tower. So as you can see, I'm trying to bring my relative inclination down. Trying to keep it as low as I can. That's actually pretty good right there. It's going to go up just a little bit, or rather it's going to fluctuate just a little bit, but that's okay. There go my boosters. Don't need them anymore, and there they go, breaking up. Again, it's perfectly fine. As you can see, I still have about 3,200 meters per second of delta V left in my center stage, because it started out full. So here we go. We're dropping a little more rapidly than I would like, but we're still good. So here we go. Again, this is an early evening launch, so we will be orbiting the dark side. Hopefully not before I can get my solar panels deployed. Otherwise, this is gonna be kind of annoying, trying to circularize on only 50 units of electric charge. So here we go. We are doing good, actually. Again, I'm rolling my rocket just ever so slightly. My relative inclination is about half a degree, a little more than half a degree. So this is good. This means that I will more than likely hit the moon when I desire to. So I'm going to pitch up just a little bit here. I don't want to pitch up too much because my rocket has a tendency to want to flip. You can see I'm already trying to fight it. Alright, you're going to go back to prograde. So, and I'm actually going to increase my thrust limiter to 75%. It's going to give me a shorter burn time, but it's going to get me right where I need to be faster. Ooh, losing my rocket. Not a big deal. This is kind of a big rocket. So, what I'm going to do, see, my apoapsis is all the way over there. This is good. It's dropping very quickly. Point prograde. Fire my engine just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So now that that's taken care of, I'm going to do quite a bit of praying here. Because as you can see, my electric charge is dropping very quickly. I don't really have a way to generate it using my engines. So, I'm just going to let my rocket tumble for a little bit. Alright, moment of truth. Stage separation. There we go. Okay. Good stage sep. I'm going to go ahead and deploy my solar panels while I still have power. And they are going to automatically try and track the sun. Actually making orbit shouldn't be too terribly difficult. It's only going to take 100, probably about 200 meters a second of delta V. Okay, 250 meters a second of delta V to make orbit, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and activate oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm going to try and activate my on-orbit antenna, and it does not look like it's working. Oh, there we go. There we go. Haha. Roll my satellite. Oh, I've now activated that engine. Hopefully I can get into the sun. Yes. Okay. This is good. I'm in the sun. And I do have connection. So I'm just going to roll this. That was kind of harrowing, actually. Because I definitely lost power there and lost connection. I am generating enough power to power at least the one antenna, which is good. So now I'm going to point towards my maneuver node. Let's straighten up my solar panels here just a little bit. Let's control from there, see if that, nope. So the reason I did the control from there by right clicking on the command pod was to see if that would change the orientation of my nav ball at all. it did not, which is fine. It's kind of annoying. I am using plenty of power. So, it is approximately a 3-second burn. However, like I mentioned in a previous video, that is based off the engine last used. Because I have not used this engine yet, it could be different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my flight computer to execute the maneuver, and hopefully that will actually take care of the burn time for me. And there we go, executing the maneuver. Stop, kill. So, a little bit of an issue. Looks like my satellite still isn't very balanced, but that's okay. Let's toggle. I could have swore. Anyway. So I've toggled my RCS because I thought this had RCS ports, but apparently it does not. So, not a big deal. I still have 2,000 meters a second of delta V. So now that my moon is set as my target, I need to get there. The easiest way to do this is with the ascending node. The ascending node is where your orbit will cross the orbit of your target body. So, unfortunately, it's not really going to work here. So I'm going to slide my orbit around. Oh, I got an encounter there. Here we go. It's a tiny one. It's a tiny encounter. But I can tweak my orbit. And hopefully get a better one. Here we go. Here we go. Lots of encounters. Okay. So, the reason I'm doing this encounter is because the contract specifically says I need to escape to a solar orbit. So, I will pass within 366 kilometers of the surface of the moon, and then I will use the moon's gravity to slingshot me into a solar orbit. So this will take 700-ish meters a second, and the maneuver is coming up in about 10 minutes. So this is going to take some work, simply because my satellite is unbalanced, which, oh well. But if I don't hit this maneuver exactly how I want it to, I'm going to need to make a correction burn later, and that's just going to be annoying. So, I'm going to point at our maneuver node. I'm going to warp just a little bit. Now it's a 32-second burn. So 15 seconds before my maneuver, I'm going to start my burn, and it should end 15 seconds after the burn. Again, because my satellite is not very well balanced, it could be off. It probably is going to be off. 16 and 15. So, like I said, I need to use very low thrust. Only using 1/4 of my thrust, because anything more than that and I wouldn't be able to correct my satellite's orbit very well. And I'm actually going to use the node function of my flight computer here to hold the node so that I can perform this burn, and it does all the corrections for me. As you can see, burning mostly prograde, orbit's getting wider. So I probably should have started my burn a lot sooner, but the end result should still be the same because I am still burning on my node. Whoa. Got a little too overzealous there, but it's not a problem. I can just go back and correct it. As you can see, my satellite is already making the necessary adjustments. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. And just make another maneuver a little bit later. So there we go. That is us. Now, as you can see, my second maneuver is a 2.5 meter per second correction burn that will still accomplish my goal. Now, here comes the tricky part. I'm going to point one of my dishes at Earth, and it will take anything and everything within that so the way dishes work is they connect in a cone. So by pointing it at Earth, it will connect with anything that is within that cone. I already know it has the range to reach to the moon, so that's not an issue. It's just a matter of, do I have the power? So let's activate it and find out. I do not. Okay. So I'm going to deactivate that, and I am still connected. Good. My dish antenna is maintaining my connection for me. So we're going to activate the magnetometer, log that data, and transmit it back. That is, of course, going to drain my batteries, but they will recharge slowly. I hope. So this might be a problem. No. Come on, come on. Oh. So it looks like I'm generating just enough power. So while we figure that out, I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and we will see where we are in the next episode. So I'm Taki117, and remember, it's only rocket science.